Okay, now we're going to review cell division, reproduction of cells. There's really two kinds of cell division. There's mitosis and meiosis. If you'll recall, mitosis starts with one cell and ends with two. It's used for growing. It's used for asexual reproduction. It's used for repair of tissue. And when you do growing or repair of tissue or asexual reproduction, you want to make cells that are identical, that have the same number of chromosomes. So you might have a cell, say with 4 chromosomes, if you were a fruit fly, and you would copy them all and then make sure each daughter cell gets one copy. You start with 4 chromosomes, copied. Now each daughter cell has 4 chromosomes. Mitosis keeps the chromosome number the same and makes identical cells. So that is mitosis. It's used for growth, repair, asexual reproduction. You first copy the DNA, called replication, and then each cell gets identical copies. You start diploid, you end diploid. And really important for us, all cells in your body were made by mitosis, except for sperm and egg, and therefore are all genetically identical. They act differently because of differentiation, because your cells in your eye use different genes than the cells in your kidneys, but your kidneys do have the genes for how to make an eye, and your eye cells do have genes for how to make a kidney. It's just that your eye cells only use eye genes and your kidneys cells only use kidney genes. So mitosis made all those cells. They're genetically all identical. As I said, the chromosome number is maintained. You start diploid, you end diploid. In this case, we have an organism that has 6 chromosomes. They all got copied, and then the copies are divided up. On the other hand, we have meiosis. Meiosis makes cells with half the chromosomes of the parent cell. So you start maybe with 4 chromosomes if you're a fruit fly, and by the end, each cell only has 2 chromosomes. Why on earth would you do that? If you're a fruit fly, you want your cells to have 4 chromosomes. Why would you make cells with half? Because you're making sperm or egg. So these cells down here are either sperm or egg, and they are monoploid, so that if this is a sperm with 2 chromosomes and another egg with 2 chromosomes fuse, we'll get a baby with 4. So meiosis cuts the chromosome number in half so that you can make sperm and egg. Those are called gametes. And each one has half of each homologous pair, half of the DNA. So we start diploid and we end monoploid. Here, if we have an organism that has 6 chromosomes, the pairs get split from each other, and then the identical copies get split, so that by the time we get to these 4 cells produced at the end, we have only 3 chromosomes per cell, but at the beginning we had 6. These cells at the end of meiosis are either sperm in a man or egg in a woman. Once the man makes sperm that are monoploid and the woman makes eggs that are monoploid, they can fuse together so that you go back to the original amount. That's called fertilization. And the baby is called a zygote when it's 1 cell big. We've gone from monoploid and restored the diploid number. So for example, if we had an organism that had 6 chromosomes, when it did meiosis, like if this was in the ovary, meiosis would happen and cut the chromosome number in half. And if this was in the testes, the man would cut the chromosome number in half, making the sperm. And a sperm would have only half the chromosomes, an egg would only have half the chromosomes. And when they fuse, you go back to the original amount of chromosomes, you restore the diploid number. You're back to 6. This is the baby. This is the first moment the baby exists. At this moment, it's called a zygote until it grows a little bit. And that is the overview, or the review, I should say, of mitosis, meiosis, and fertilization.